What's up, J-Lo? We gotta get you talking on this series soon. You and Deepak. Let's talk about some of those Scuba Migos adventures, right? Are you down for that? Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Going wild. The simple ones, yes. The simple ones. Shh. It didn't happen. That's awesome. Yeah, the simple ones. We'll keep it truly PG. We'll keep it fairly believable. We're having a Hello, LB. We're having another discussion today. Today we're having Hooda Brown. You're right, James. Y'all, shout out to James right here. J-Lo J10. He Me, J-Lo, and Deepak have been to a few. We've had a bunch of international dive trips together. We'll be talking to J-Lo and Deepak very soon. What's up, Letitia? How's everybody doing tonight? Hello. Grading and grading. New school year is kind of fun, huh? Oh, I wouldn't say fun, but it's something. Have you been, James? Lots of it, yeah. I can't confirm or deny that this is tea or coffee. So I feel you. Jesus. Coffee with nitrox in it. Coffee with nitrox. That's gonna be some interesting narcosis. James, you going out diving soon? Yeah, we gotta go out to like just over in Catalina or something. Just do a nice easy dive in the marine park. I'll hit you up one of these weekends, one of these upcoming weekends. We'll try to do that. Go out and get wet. Get wet. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Um, it was down in I was down in San Diego a couple days ago diving. It was fun. Hello.
Hey Ed, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, super.
That's awesome. It's amazing. This story was so good. You had to tell it again.
I know, right? WhatsApp is not our friend. WhatsApp is not our friend, right?
No, it was mostly my bad. Yeah, WhatsApp just didn't save any of the audio. So, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you coming back and sharing your information with us. So, yeah,
Right.
we've got how's how's your day first? Let's start with that.
Yeah, a bunch of patients. Got them
Yeah,
done. Everybody's good. All is good in my world.
that's awesome. We've got another chat here today. Divers getting coffee. We have Hooda Brown with us, and
Yes.
she's had many experiences all over the place. I'll just let you start by introducing yourself to everyone right now, please. Who you are and what you
Okay.
do.
Okay. I am Hooda Brown. I have been diving, I guess, about 12 years. I got certified in 2008. I have a college senior and a high school junior, and I have just been enjoying the ocean.
That's awesome. And I know you got one of them diving already, right?
Yeah. That youngest one of mine. Both want to get certified, but that youngest of mine, she definitely has. The ocean has put its reins in her. She's hooked.
That's
So it's just
awesome.
a matter of time now.
That's awesome. More power to girls with scuba,
Girls,
right?
that scuba. That's right, absolutely.
Which you got featured on a couple times in the last couple weeks, I think, right?
I know, right?
Yeah, that's
Because I,
awesome.
I don't really, I haven't truly figured out Instagram yet, but I just know I started getting these messages, and I was like, oh, okay, so someone else used something that I'd already posted, but I'm getting it. I'm getting there.
That's awesome. And you just had some amazing experiences in Cozumel, which we're gonna get to in a minute. Where are you?
I'm in
Where,
Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, born and
Memphis, Tennessee.
raised.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know you scuba dive, you snowboard, and you have a bunch of other things. But about an hour ago when we were talking, you were actually with a patient. So I just want to thank you for the good fight you're fighting in the medical world. Um,
Yes.
so thank you for
Yeah,
that.
we all do what we can. Everybody has a role, everybody plays a part. And so, you do your thing, I do my thing, and that's, what we're all bound to do, something.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a place.
That's awesome. Now, how did you get started in diving? What got you started? Why did you start diving?
All right. Well, I think it was I got divorced, and there was a need to learn some new things. So I took ski lessons, I took scuba lessons, and I learned how to salsa dance. So because there's this time now that you have with your hands, and you're like, what am I gonna do? I need some new
Right.
things to do. And so that was a time of transition. So scuba just kind of fit in. I thought it was awesome. But I didn't really start to dive until many years later. So I got certified, then I would dive every once in a while. But, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I got hooked. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
this is great.
It's one of those things. Once you pop, you just can't stop. Like
Man,
you get in
listen.
and it sucks you in. It's
Yes.
amazing. It's amazing you mention that because when I started, it was just going to be like a quick, get the first open water and do it whenever I can. But next thing I know, I was doing it every weekend, and I just got divorced myself, so it was a very similar experience, just looking for
Yeah.
something different to do.
Some
So,
new, some new, new people to talk to, new scene.
right,
You know, we
new
have to
vibe, new
create
friends.
those new cubby holes for ourselves because in divorce, I mean, really, in divorce, everything kind of separates. Some friends go this way, some friends go that way. So when you try new things, you meet new people
And I got to say, it's a great way to just spend alone time and not talk and think. You be with your buddy, but yeah, you're still just in your own space.
in your own world. It's the closest thing. I tell people all the time, it is the closest thing on earth to flying. You are in your space. You're listening to your breaths. You're keenly aware of everything around you, all the colors and textures, depth and all. And it is a surreal time. That's what I use it for anyway.
That's awesome. When I started, um, yes, I was looking for an escape, and I got in, and a couple pool sessions in, I got that barrier, that hump, that I felt like um, maybe this is not for me. Did you ever? And I think a lot of divers do experience that because it's not natural to human beings to breathe underwater. Yes, you have
No.
the apparatus and you have the gear and everything, but yeah, it's just not usual. Did you ever have a moment where you felt like, nah, maybe not. I'll try something else.
You know, the funny thing is, I don't know how other divers have answered that question, but I've yet to have the moment to say, no, I don't want to do this. Like once I decided this is what I was going to do, then I just wanted to move, you know, just advance my skills. So it was never like, oh, this doesn't work. This is bad. You know, I can't breathe. Yeah, I couldn't breathe many times, and you know, I made many early mistakes, but I never had a moment where I really had to consider, is this thing for me?
Right. That's amazing. You got a all go no quits Wonder Woman right here, right?
No, I won't say that. You know, I've had those moments in other things, but just not scuba.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
maybe I just was blessed that way, but not scuba. But I had trepidation about many things before.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad it's not scuba. That's why we are enjoying the stories you're sharing, and those stories have taken you to a bunch of different, very exciting places around the world. What's been your favorite encounter so far? What's been the most interesting underwater experience?
My most interesting underwater experience, well, my most interesting experience altogether
In diving,
was just, you know, being with, because for 10 years I've dove alone, just me and whoever's on the dive boat. So it's usually I'm the only brown person and I'm usually the only female. So I just would dive with whomever. And so to, you know, meet, you know, because I met like the members of NABS, National Association of Black Scuba Divers, and I joined them in May. And there was a trip already scheduled for Egypt in November, and I couldn't send them my little down payment fast enough, you know, because I was like, okay, Black people. And so just
Let's
to
turn
be,
up.
oh, wow. It was, I mean, especially for someone who dove by myself for so long. And so usually I don't get the camaraderie on the boats, nor the after, you know, the after camaraderie where everybody sits and gets toasted. I don't really, you know, get an opportunity to get that because usually I'm traveling alone and you really just can't do that. You know, you can't be somewhere fuzzy headed. And so to be with NABS and there are 120 other divers and I'm with tech divers and I'm with, you know, other women and men, all these beautiful Black people. We're on, you know, 12 yachts and we are at the Red Sea, as in God parted. It was an amazing experience. You know what I'm saying? It was just, I mean, Ras Muhammad, if I had to say, was so the Thistlegorm wreck was my favorite, but my favorite reef was Ras Muhammad. It was magical. I mean, it was like this 100-foot drop. And so the deep blue was to the left and it was just this beautiful reef. It was gorgeous. And that was, I mean, that dive was breathtaking to me. So that was my best scuba experience, just to be around my people finally, just, you know, that camaraderie and the jokes and, you know, all of the stuff that I felt like I had been missing for that 10 years diving because it was just, you know, I was listening to some other kind of jokes, you know, so it was, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I was telling someone the other day that I probably know more Black divers on Instagram than I've actually ever gone dive. I've only gone diving one other Black diver actually. So right. I'm reaching out to all my brothers and sisters. Eventually we're going to be talking to all interesting divers. But right now I'm still talking to my brothers and sisters. So it was it must have been fun just showing up, the whole crew showing up in Egypt. And
Man, it was amazing. I'm telling you, it was just it was a beautiful sight. Everybody was good energy. Everybody is a giant in their own world. So there was so much camaraderie and just everyone's happy because, you know, divers naturally are happy to see other divers, you know. So,
absolutely.
You know, oh, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter like color, gender, none of that matters for divers. Divers are divers. So we're always, you know, happy to be in the company of someone else who enjoys the thing that we love the most.
That's true, because it takes a certain level of madness to try to breathe on the water in the first place. So we
Right.
all connect with that.
Right. That's
I'll say
correct. That's
I'll say
correct.
maybe divers first, pilots second, and sailors third, or whatever, something in that order.
Yeah. We are special people now. We are, anybody who wants to put on a self-contained underwater breathing apparatus and
Yep.
decide they're going to do it, hey, we're special.
And that scuba, by the way, sis just dropped knowledge on y'all. So that's awesome. Now, I got to ask you something.
Sure.
It's a fun conversation, but I have to ask you this, especially with the kind of support, say girls of scuba, women empowering other women, giving each other support and hyping each other up. What has been your experience as a woman in a dive community, and specifically as a Black woman in a dive community?
So that's a tough question because
I know.
a dive community has not existed for me. You understand? So it was a unilateral personal movement of choice. So there was no one supporting, my dives or anything that I was doing. So most people, especially early on, it almost became a thing that I just did on my own because I didn't want to get the flack. Like, there's sharks in the ocean. You know that you're going to die. Like all of the normal things that people say to you, like something's wrong with you. So there was no support or a dive community. I found, like I said, in the last 2 years, more of a sense of dive community, like the ladies in NABS. I mean, other mermaids, like those are some phenomenal women. So, and that's only been as of I met them all October 31st of last year. So prior to that, 11 years, it's just, something that I personally enjoy, that just became, like a vibration for me. It was a place for me to get what I needed. Like even in this time of COVID, a lot of people have chosen to be more sedentary. I've chosen to go get on a plane, and go get in that ocean because it's a reconnection for me. It's a place that I feel good, and I, can dissipate all of the other pressures, especially of healthcare, because I give so much, to patients. The ocean gives to me,
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I know it's a deep question, so I appreciate you sharing the insight. And like you said, I actually found out about, I did notice and find out about NABS through one of your posts, and I've been looking into them a lot more and watched a documentary the other day.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Looking at the kind of archaeology, looking at old slave shipwrecks and
ships, right? That's Diving with a Purpose.
Wow.
I'm a member of that group, and so that's the Slave Wrecks Project. And so we were all supposed to go to Costa Rica in May to get the archaeological certification and do like this whole training. But of course, COVID had other plans for us, and so we've been rescheduled for next May. So. I'm so on that. The potential to find something and reclaim and at least, have that space claimed for us. Like we came for y'all. We at least we cared enough to come back and look for you guys. You weren't just lost for forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We cared enough. So it is deeply personal for me to have a potential opportunity to do that.
That's great. I'm gonna look it up myself and get my African behind on the list. So maybe we'll be on that trip together.
I know, right? We need a clan of divers.
It would be, it would have been great, but of course, COVID said, "Hold my beer." Now that you mentioned COVID, how has that affected your travel plans or diving plans that you had? I know you've been traveling, so please tell us about it.
Yeah, so it has. So of course it's scary, and the first day one, that first trip that I took for my birthday, which was the first time on a plane since it all started. There was somebody on the second leg of my trip right next to me, and so I had on my N95. I didn't drink anything. I didn't eat anything. I barely talked. All the way through the airport, to my taxi, all the way to the resort. And so resort experience was interesting in that, first of all, Mexico was just opening back up, and so it was only maybe 30% occupied, and so there weren't people everywhere, so it was easy to chill and sit in the cabana. Somebody bring your food to your feet, you sign a ticket, and so you truly were able to social distance. And so I think that, for anyone who is intentional about keeping people out of their faces, I mean, it's going to be as safe as it's going to be, because COVID's going to be here with us for, a good season. So you're going to have to decide based on the variables that only and your comfort level, whether you're going to get out there or not. Because I'm not, I don't have a banner or a sign to say, hey, it's safe, go. No, because if you have asthma or compromised in any way, I'm saying no, and we had a therapist just go out last week, with COVID. So, it's real. 50% of our population who has decided they were going to have this cavalier and callous attitude toward it, but it's so very real.
And next thing you know, we become ground zero. I mean, if we have to convince anyone, if anyone needs convincing that it's real at this point, well, good luck. Evolution. Right. I don't want to say evolution, but yeah, evolution. Darwinism. Be nice. I'm being nice. I'm being nice. I'm usually nice, everyone. But you were just in Mexico recently, and actually, as you said the other day, you're a medical professional, so you're in proximity. You're seeing patients that you're in proximity of these things every day. So it's about guidelines, observing.
Consistency, you know what I mean? Like, I consistently wear my PPE. There is no compromise. I do not risk it. There is nothing. So in the same way that I felt, like I'm going to risk my life to help someone else, I definitely am going to use those same precautions. And just common sense. Like, I didn't go to a restaurant. I rarely left the resort other than to go dive. There's some new norms for us divers. Like, so there are mask requirements on the boats. The boats now are limited to 4 to 6 people on each side of the boat. And so where prices used to be, like, I've dove with Deep Blue many, many times in Cozumel. And so usually it's 2 tank dive is about $80. Now it's $100, because they're trying to, I guess, make up the number of people that they've lost on the boat. So, a lot of little bitty changes, but not so many where this experience is hampered. Nowadays I would definitely tell a new diver, go ahead and get some regs. But other than that, it's about the same process.
That's good to know. So Mexico is currently open. They've been open for about a month or so. I think Aruba is open, but they need
supposed to go in 2 weeks. So we'll see.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm
So
vicariously through you.
Well, we're leaving. What is that? The 3rd through the 7th, and so you have to take a COVID test 72 hours before you arrive. Within 72 hours, and it has to be negative. If you are coming from a hotspot state. So for the folks that are living in California and Arizona and Texas and Florida, if you're coming from any of those states, you're still going to have to take the fast test in the Aruba airport and wait, for the result. So anybody coming from, so they've got, 2 tiers. So if you're coming from the U.S., 72 hours. But if you're coming from one of those states, at the airport, they come on, sir, or ma'am, come over here with us. So, right. So that's going to be interesting for some people. The crew of people that I'm with, thank goodness, aren't from those states. So, and I hope my state doesn't end up on the list. Because that would, an airport test, if I can avoid it, I'd like to.
That'd be, Godspeed. Hoping it goes smoothly. And yeah, I mean, they seem reasonable with their requests. It's not anything.
Sure. I mean, that's reasonable.
Ordinary. Yeah.
I mean, protect your people. At the end of the day, we are highly contagious right now. So as a country, and so I'm not blaming anyone for deciding you need to get tested prior to coming.
It's probably a bad taste to say, but it's an American way. We like to be the best, the biggest, the very first on the list. So
right.
Here we go. But here we go. It's fun. I'm glad you're going to be having that some diving in Aruba. I'm actually looking forward to it. It's a place I've been looking to go to. So I'll be definitely pinging you about questions about it very soon. Now,
Well, anytime. I'm an open book. Anytime.
absolutely. Do you have any advice for someone getting started? Scuba diving can be intimidating. Obviously, movies like Jaws haven't done a good, a good, haven't given the sport a good rap, especially just the plain fear of sharks or the whole method and process and protocols that go through like becoming certified and advancing in ranks and getting gear that's super expensive. What do you have? What advice do you have for someone that is looking to get started, is curious about diving, about the ocean, about getting interested in scuba diving?
So what I would do is I would definitely connect with a dive shop. But here's the caveat to that. You've got to have that relationship. That relationship is incredibly important to, I think, your natural matriculation through levels and all of the stuff that you want to learn. However, dive shops are in business to, sell you equipment. And so often I
Right.
think that we would have far many more divers that would be willing to at least try scuba if it wasn't so expensive. Most people can't afford $2,800 worth of equipment off the go, off the whim. And so if, my advice to a new diver would be to pace yourself, yeah, you probably need to get some regs, and if you can get some used, get them sanitized, just
Yeah.
start in a reasonable place. See if you like it, see if you love it, most importantly, before you start to make that type of major investment. Because that's a
Yeah.
turnoff for a lot of people. Many dive shops want $500-600 just to get certified, and then the amount of equipment, along with it. And so it's just a lot of people don't have $3,000 to just say, hey, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that's great. Pace yourself. Well, first of all, look for your local dive shop. Find,
Yes. Yeah, because
find
you
your
need the
dive shop.
relationship. The relationship is good. I am
Hmm.
not bashing dive shops. Like those relationships are enduring relationship. I love my dive shop. They love me. But I also shop on Amazon, so, that give and take. I've
There's
got
a
kids in
balance.
college. So, I'm not just writing checks for, brand new stuff that I can get a little bit cheaper. So,
Yeah.
um, I just would tell someone to pace themselves and also to get like a dive mentor, because people
Mm.
help your experience. And so when you're out, like I did it by myself or whatever, but I wouldn't say, like, I'm a certain personality. And so
Right.
for some people who need, the input of someone else and making sure they're doing it right, because it is intimidating. The ocean is full of things. Everything's alive. Every single thing is alive. And so
And they live
I
there.
right, we're visiting. They live
Right.
exactly. They live there. We're visiting. So like having a dive mentor or a dive buddy or a dive partner, I think it goes a long way with regards to people's satisfaction with their dives. Because just like with anything, scuba people are special people. So a new diver, we're going to cheer them on. So whatever it is you want to do, we're there.
We
Like,
got you.
yes, do it. So that's what I would suggest. Getting a
That's
dive partner, mentor, looking up. I mean, there are tons of Facebook groups. I think NABS has about 12 clubs. I'm a Facebooker of all 12 clubs because, of course, I'm just trying to figure out who's going where and when.
good to know.
So, getting connected with other people, I think, is going to enhance a new diver's experience.
That's great. And you mentioned a very good point. Like, usually your instructor is one of your first mentors. So it's always really good to, like, have that rapport. Just
Right.
talk to your instructors before you start and reach out to Hooda, at Hooda
You
Brown on
can.
Instagram. Reach out. Like,
You
we have a
can.
question right now. We have a Arene 16, ARENEE 16. Does scuba diving require you to be a strong swimmer? Do you want to take that?
So how do you answer that question? Because the answer to the question, Renee, is it really doesn't require you to be a swimmer because it is dive science.
Hmm.
So however, if you were my dive buddy, if you were not a strong swimmer, I still would want you to be comfortable in the water. So strong swimmer is going to be, you're the only person that's going to determine what strong swimmer means to you. But comfortable in the water is necessary, because if you're not comfortable in the water, there's just so many variables to make you uncomfortable in the water, right?
Yeah.
Ed?
That's absolutely true.
Thing.
I'm gonna be honest too. That's a fact. When I started diving, I could barely swim. Like, yeah, I could just get around. I could just, make the basic requirements, but the comfort in the ocean, or just being comfortable in water, being comfortable underwater, and get the training and move on. Your comfort level plays a huge role into how you learn. And it wasn't until I actually did my dive master watermanship that I actually really sat down and went to adult swimming classes
Right.
to figure it out. But
right.
yeah, so yeah. Bottom line, you don't need to be a strong swimmer, but you should be comfortable in water.
You need to be comfortable. Yeah, at least.
At least. No, that's great. Great advice. You just gave it. Great gems. You just dropping gems for our audiences and everyone sharing. So everyone, if you're ever looking for a mentor, someone to talk to about scuba diving, if you're looking to get in, you can always reach out to Hooda Brown anytime.
I promise you can, because I always want to talk about it. I never not want to talk about scuba. So if you have a question, or you're having problems, or just trouble getting certified, I've been trying to coach one distant friend that's just on Facebook through her. It's like she has problems with her mask, and that mask clearing is a problem for her, and she was uncomfortable. And so we're just trying to work through that remotely. And so I'm cheerleading. I've got 2 pom-poms. Like, hey, you can get it done.
Dakota's mommy just acknowledge you as her mentor. Thank you for sharing that. That's
yes, Lakeisha. So that's my friend from college. She and her daughter both got certified last fall. So that's she had been watching like my videos and all this stuff for about 2 years. It's like, because people tell me all the time, I'm going to get certified, but everyone doesn't mean it. They're going to get certified. Lakeisha and her daughter, Dakota, they got certified. So I was so proud, so I went down to Alabama like, oh, my people,
That's awesome. And it's sometimes it's the most subtle tips that can make a huge difference in how you clear your mask and have a good dive, or how you struggle with your mask the entire time. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Great advice that you've given the audience right now. What's the best advice you've received yourself personally through your dive career?
The best advice that I receive, that I try to use often, is to enjoy your dives. And GoPros are huge distractions. You dive differently when you have a GoPro. Your focus is different when you have a GoPro. And that euphoric floating or flying feeling that I had early on prior to GoPros, because I've been, diving where there was no GoPros, there were no cameras there. I've got amazing dives that there's nothing but the stuff that's in my head. So I try to alternate days where I don't use the GoPro, or dives where I don't use the GoPro, where I just take it all in, relax into it, and just enjoy the dive. So what I would say to anyone, that was the best advice I have, because I think it keeps you connected to the place that you fell in love with at first. And for me, the feeling of being in a dive and relaxing to a dive is where I fell in love. So, that's important for me, to not be so occupied with getting this great shot, even though now, my focus has changed, because now I want to share with little brown girls, all this amazing stuff that's in the ocean. So, I have to do on and off, days where I'm not fooling with it, and sometimes I'm just chilling.
And that's a good point, and now even when you're doing your shooting, you're probably thinking ahead of what story you're trying to tell, and what you're trying to capture, and kind of going with the flow. Yeah, that's solid. That's great advice, because when I started, and it's stuff we do in everyday life, above water, always trying to capture the mud, which is great. It has its place, but sometimes, especially when you're underwater, it robs you of that experience, you know, unless you kind
Right.
of really plan it out.
Right.
I've had experience of it, you know, fellow dive buddies that whip up the camera and they go zing, 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 zing,
Right.
zing, zing. And I'm like, did you see this? No. Did you see that? No. Did you see that? No. Okay, where's
Right.
the video you shot? Oh, I don't know. I haven't really looked at
Right.
it.
Right.
So,
Right.
so that's good. Take just be in the moment. Take it one step at a
Yeah, the
time.
moments are important because you miss a lot. If you're, the most annoying thing in the world is some dive master that's constantly clicking every little bitty thing that's to be
Hmm.
seen. It just takes so much away from the dive. And I usually when I get one of those, I go ahead and veer off to the left or right because I can't stand it. Like that interrupts my mojo. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to see that thing that I've seen now 15 times, 11 times. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do it.
Like just relax. And like personally, I like bigger animals. I
Yes, me
appreciate
too.
macro stuff for what they are. But when I hit the ding, 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 I go over them like, I got to squint to see this. Okay,
Right.
sure. Okay. Did you see it? Yeah, I saw it.
Right,
Great.
right, 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 right. Right. All bad, right? You gotta squint, like and they're still click away at some obscure nothingness and it annoys me. I'm
Oh
like,
my
ooh,
God.
please stop. And I'm
It's
so
one of those
sorry it
things.
got so dark. I'm sitting outside and I didn't realize the sun would go down so quickly.
Oh, it's fine. You know, I am sweating. It is really hot in California right now. We're having a serious heat wave. It was like 100 and it's probably like 141 in the desert. And
Right.
my AC just refuses. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm not working anymore. So, it's
Yeah.
okay. We'll probably try to wrap this up soon too. I know time is precious. You've been on the front line of the pandemic fight all day as a medical
Yeah.
professional. So I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and share your scuba stories. This is another edition of Divers Getting Coffee, and we
Diamond
have
coffee.
absolutely we have Hooda Brown here tonight. I see you've already got some mentees, and I'm loving the experiences you're having and sharing. Please continue to do so. Um,
Absolutely.
One last question, real quick. How being a diver, how's that your how's that impacted the way you plan your dive or plan your trips nowadays? Has that changed anything for you?
Oh,
Or
absolutely. So
okay.
anywhere that I'm going, if there's an opportunity to dive, my equipment is with me. So anytime I can get in the ocean, because I don't really do a lot of lake and quarry and local
Yeah,
dives. So yeah,
saltwater only.
I know, right? So most of the time, if I'm going somewhere tropical or if I'm going somewhere there is a way to get in the ocean, my stuff is with me. Period.
Mm,
And the likelihood that I'm not going to do so is highly unlikely.
mm. Yeah, that's kind of actually it's kind of reverse for me. I like plan it around the dive. I'm like, oh, if there's anything else that's interesting, sure, let's do it.
Right. I'll do the other stuff. Right.
If you had to take just one piece of gear on your trip, say you're going to Iceland, for example, and yeah, there's so first that you want to do it, but you have like 9 out of the 10 days planned to do other things that are not diving. What one piece of equipment will you take with you?
Rigs.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Because
Wow.
Iceland's on my list. And so I bought the Mari's Navy 2 just because they won't freeze because eventually I'm going to do that dive.
That's funny you
I'm
mentioned
great. Like
that.
so I don't know if you have the bucket list. I have the bucket list. Like I
Oh
am
yeah.
checking off, and one time, 2 years ago, I was in a good rhythm. I would check off 3 a year. So,
Mm,
I'm on the list and Iceland's on the list.
that's
The thought of being between 2 tectonic plates, Eurasia and America, is amazing.
It's amazing. It's the next best thing to being an astronaut. It's the funny thing is when I did my dry suit cert, I was
Uh-huh.
thinking of Iceland. I had no plans to go to Iceland at the time, but I was like, if I go to Iceland, I just want to be able to, jump in, get in, and do it. So I did my dry suit rec, and out of nowhere, a couple years later, an Iceland trip came up, and I literally got off the plane, went
Uh-huh.
down, to the bus station. They picked me up and went diving. That was the first thing I did.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah, you about it, I see.
Oh, Well, thank you so much for your time. I know I appreciate you coming back. We talked a couple of days ago. I botched it, couldn't get the audio, so I really, really appreciate you coming back
And
to
of course,
share
I
this with
bought it
us.
today. I didn't have enough light. I didn't know
Oh
seriously.
no, hopefully we're going to be having a lot of expeditions together in the near future. So we're going to have a lot
Sure,
of great stories
sure.
to tell and a lot of great explorations and discoveries to share with the world. So before we go, where can people find you on the internet? What's the plug?
So I'm working on this
Instagram.
website, and it's going to be
Hmm.
www.hoodabrown.com, but it's still in the works. Right now, just hit me up, Messenger, or in the what is it, IG? What is that called? Messenger, I guess.
Yeah, the
Um,
DM.
if yeah. And so, however I can help, I will. Like whoever is like interested or has questions or concerns or trepidation, however I can help you become yet another dive buddy, I'm on it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, sis. Sis just dropped knowledge on every one of us, dropped some gems. Feel free to reach out to her anytime at Hooda Brown, Hooda Brown on Instagram. Well, here's another one. Divers Getting Coffee. Thank you, sis.
All right. Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too.
All right, everybody. I think that's it for tonight. I am still sweating. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. We're having a heat wave and it's really hot. So my air conditioner's not working. I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys for joining. It's been another great episode of, I don't know why I keep calling it episode. It's just a thing. I'm just having conversations with divers that I find interesting. I'll try to talk to at least one diver a week. And thank you, Letitia, for confirming that. It is super hot, yes, in Southern California. So I am not making this up. I can't make this up. Yeah, that's about it for tonight. Thanks for joining and have a wonderful night, folks.